Hello, all. How are you? My name is Jerome, and I am the Sane Realist. It's September 24th here in Denver, Colorado, and it's about 4 o'clock p.m. I've had a pretty easy day, not any major events. I have it's a bunch of visitors. My wife's daughter is here from Great Britain, and my wife's son is here on the couch recovering from heroin addiction. And he's an interesting young man. Uh, Super hyper intelligent. Probably ADHD to the max. Knows his way around computers and networks and all the modern equipment, and everything is full of promise. And like so many other people, including myself when I was his age, there's just this disconnect between what I could be and what I'm gonna do. I went through the same thing when I was in my early 30s, mid 30s. I was working as hard as I could. That's a weird reflection spot in me. I'm gonna try and get rid of that. Hold on. There you go. That's a little better. Doesn't look like my face is glowing, at least. So, yeah, I was full of, I don't know what else to call it, but self-hatred. I knew that I could do much, but I didn't believe in myself enough to try to pursue it. You know, I wish there would have been a Jordan Peterson around when I was 15, 16, all the way up into my 30s, and I think maybe my life would have taken a different course, but it didn't. You know, when I think about my epilepsy and all that, I sometimes have a tendency to fall into this victim mode, like, oh, the world is mean to me. And no, I did this to myself, and it was because I didn't care about myself. Self-loathing, self-hatred, it is prevalent. You know, this young man has that too. He just can't figure out that he's worthy. I don't know how do you do that? You know, how do you can't prove to somebody that they're worthy. You can't show them that they're worthy. They have to see that for themselves, and not only see it, but embrace it. You know, because I saw my worthiness when I was going through the throes of addiction. Like round and around and around, various different drugs, anything I could find, anything that I could find. It's hard to imagine. And you know, all these people running around up and down Colfax and up here, strung out on fentanyl, they're also in a state of self-hatred. And it's interesting because I remember I was having a big moral dilemma, you know, about what to do, you know, about this ministry. What's the best thing to do, you know? And I came up with a very interesting quote out of the Bible, talking about pigs before swine. Here it is. Do not give what is holy to dogs. Do not throw your pearls before swine, or they will trample them under your foot and turn and maul you. And I think that, yeah, that's an apt description of what was going on with us. We were really tempting fate in our attempt to really help people. And that's the saddest part, the attempt to help people who have ultimate self-loathing. And I think maybe that people who are filled with self-hatred are not filled with something else. I heard an interesting thing today. It talked about the tree and the earth, and the tree has the earth. The earth can exist without the tree, but without the earth, the tree cannot exist. And everything it has a connection like that. The fish has the water, and without the water, the fish can't exist. But without the fish, the water can exist. And then it looked at man, and it said, "And men, okay, where do we fall into that? As every other living thing falls into that." And it's like, well, we are different. We're different from every other thing that exists that we know of. We have a big, giant brain in comparison to every other species that exists today on this planet. Big, giant brain. And our big, giant brain requires tons of calories to make it operate. And the only way to get tons of calories in an efficient manner into our bodies is to cook it. Okay? And the only way to cook it is to discover fire or some sort of outside energy source based on carbon that creates heat. Because you can eat raw meat all day long and you're not going to get the same nutritional value that you would by cooking it. And our brains need it. Our brains need food. It's not just the rest of your body. Probably 80% of your calories are burned right here. Like a lot, most of your oxygen, unless you're jogging or something, right here. All your calories are being consumed by your brain, most of them. Okay, your heart, digestive system, all that, yeah, but your brain. And so we need, really, in order to evolve to where we got to, we had to step outside of ourselves. And we're different. And because of that, we're different. And I think that given that it says it really in the Bible that God created man in his own image. Okay, so that makes us kind of a sacred thing, a vessel, if you will. And a sacred vessel, I guess, if it is unprotected, if it, through free choice, chooses to basically say, I don't need the protection of God and the community and all the safety and the goodness that comes from being a spiritual person, I could just whatever. I think that they lose track and lose sight of the path, and they destroy themselves. It is a form of self-hatred. And if somebody gets to that point, then evil comes from without very rapidly in all kinds of different ways. In the same chapter, it talks about, this is really a good one. Interesting, it says, enter through the narrow gate, for the gate is wide and the road is easy that leads to destruction. There you go. That self-hatred is like makes it easy. The demons of the world and of reality steer you. They steer you. Come on, look at this, nice and smooth and easy, man. There's no sign on it that says destruction this way. No. Just like there's no sign on it that says salvation this way, you know. For the gate is narrow and the road is hard that leads to life. And there are few who find it. You know, that's a very deep, deep thing. You know, and we need God. If we don't have Him, ultimately we go astray and we are miserable and empty, or we try to destroy ourselves, one or the other. So, you know, once again, when you are born again, let's say, for instance, it has to be a rebirth into a childlike state where you are innocent and you really everything has been forgiven in advance. You know, God knows in advance what's going to happen. It's kind of a strange situation where imagine if you were God and you had the world in a fishbowl and you know what's going to happen. You can predict it, but you can't stop it. You have given over your will to this fishbowl of creatures, and they will do whatever it is that they want to do individually and as groups. And so narrow is the gate and hard is the path. Rocks, no, I mean, you think it's hard to find the way to hell. Man, the way to heaven is much harder, so to speak. And in life, you know, if you look at that in life and go, okay, well, that sounds hocus pocus and when I get there and all this, but no, in life, if you choose the easy path, you know, you're going to be known by what you do. But if you intentionally search out the rough road, the narrow road, looking for that narrow gate, attempting to be one of the few who make it, then you will be rewarded. You know, whatever you give, you shall receive in return. And that is true. The more you give, especially of what you need, especially if you give from what you need. I need this, but you know what? Here. Yeah, somebody comes up to you, if you're a smoker, you got one cigarette left and they're homeless and they're like, hey man, you got to smoke. Don't go, no, I got to go buy a new pack. It's my last one. No, sorry man, it's my last one. Your reward, my friend, will be something much greater than cancer that you would have received from that cigarette. You know, if you go, you know what, here you go, man. And you know what, here's $1 to go with it. Good luck. But, you know, your reward with some, you know, there's no telling, but you will be protected, if nothing else. So that's what? 13 minutes of rambling, useless, stupid rambling. I sound like an idiot, but that's okay, because why not? My name is Jerome, and I am the Zane Realist.